Hello and welcome. In this brief presentation, we're going to talk about 3 keys to successfully navigating the next 12 months. This program is designed for small business owners, from the solo entrepreneur on up to the person that maybe has a couple contractors or employees working with them. But stay tuned, as we think many of you will find this information valuable, because we believe that the key to navigating this challenging time is to be nimble and to understand that you may need to pivot some of your work activities. What do we mean by pivot? I'll explain here over the next several minutes. This is a presentation of Ann Babiars and Associates, and it's aimed at those who own and operate small businesses. But in hearing from our clients, they told us of a need to present this information to individuals who maybe they were even working at a traditional job with a traditional employer, because there's a lot of unknowns and a lot of uncertainty right now, and this information may be helpful to many. We certainly hope so. Let's begin with some thoughts on where we may be headed once the economies of our various states attempt to return to more normal operations. Essentially, we have 4 possible economic scenarios. The first is a rather grim one. We wind up in an economic downturn rivaled only by the Great Depression of the 1930s. This downturn is prolonged, and the growth to exit it is slow. Our second scenario is more akin to the financial crisis of the mid-2000s. We enter a period of time similar to the Great Recession, but probably shorter. Then the downturn ends and we return to slow but steady growth. The third possibility is a more extended recession or depression, where the return to growth takes maybe a little bit more time than perhaps it would in our second scenario. And our last possibility, perhaps the rosiest of predictions, is a severe downturn followed by a quick bounce and a return to normalcy. With any of these 4 scenarios, small businesses will be impacted profoundly. The typical small business owner doesn't have the resources, either economic or otherwise, to navigate these possible outcomes without taking some critical steps. Let's look at some projections for our current year period. Prior to the pandemic, a general consensus was that the economy would grow by about 2.3%. There was some numbers in and around that, but that's about an average amount. And this is kind of in line with the typical growth rates that followed the recession of the mid-2000s. Some years we did a little better, some years a little worse, but the average growth was somewhere in the mid-2 percentage points. The latest estimate from Morgan Stanley projects gross domestic product to shrink by 5.5% for the year 2020. And when we dive a little bit deeper into their numbers, we see they're projecting an enormous shrinkage of 38% for the second quarter, which is April, May, and June of this year, followed by a fairly robust uptick in the third quarter of almost 21%. When we put these forecasts into real numbers, we see that the GDP forecast under the old estimate was it would grow to $29,922 billion. Under the new Morgan Stanley forecast, we wind up with a number for the year of about $20,250 billion, which is an almost $1.7 trillion difference. Now, when we were researching how a pandemic might affect the American economy, we came across an interesting research study published in November 2007 by a gentleman who at the time was an economist for the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis by the name of Thomas Garrett. Thomas Garrett is now a professor at Ole Miss. Professor Garrett examined the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic for clues as to what might happen to the United States economy if it experienced a pandemic in modern times. This author eerily predicted much of the economic disruption that we're now undergoing. Where he fell short was his projections on the loss to the economy, as he woefully underestimated the impacts that may be felt even under some of the more positive scenarios. This may be due to assumptions that we would be more prepared than we actually were. But let's return to our 4 scenarios we laid out. If we have a prolonged depression, much like the 1930s, or our second or third scenario where the downturn is severe, but there is growth that returns thereafter, or our fourth scenario, the most rosiest of projections, where the severe downturn is followed quickly by an upward bounce, we can really see that in all cases, small businesses more than ever need to be nimble and to understand that they need to pivot some of their strategies in order to not only survive this challenging time, but to thrive. Now, what do I mean by pivot? The 3 biggest issues we're hearing from our clients are, number 1, will I have enough money to survive and to come back? Number 2, does the message I use to reach my audience, will it still speak to them? People are going to be profoundly changed by the experiences we are undergoing. How does that affect the message that small businesses use to reach out? And the corollary to that is, will the marketing that the small businessman use still reach the people that he or she intends to serve? These things wake me up at 3 o'clock in the morning. How about you? Simply stated, to pivot, we believe you need to re-engineer your business, looking for new money, new messaging, and new marketing. We've created a program to help you do just that. With this program, you're going to learn 7 sources of funding for your business, how to obtain a cash infusion to help you survive the next critical several months, and strategies to obtain the money you need to stabilize and then grow your business. You'll need to understand the difference between your target audience and your target market, and you need a message that speaks to the right individuals or businesses where they're going to be on the other side of the pandemic, and content that reinforces your message to them. And finally, you need to understand the 8 ways that you can market your business, how to analyze which of these methods will work in your particular situation and in light of today's crisis, and how to truly serve that tribe that you are or have been cultivating. With Pivot, we offer you 3 sessions that can change your business. Maybe they even change your life. In session 1, you'll learn 7 ways to secure funding for your business. Session 2 is dedicated to your message and how you can adapt it in light of these challenging times. And session 3 will help you see that your marketing, it will be heard, and there are ways you can serve others even in these tough times and the times ahead. We're really trying to do our best to help our clients and our colleagues. And in light of that, we have a special offer during this time when all or most of us are sequestered safely in our homes, and we do have the time to plan now. When we spoke to our own consultants about the value that Pivot might offer, they suggested we price the course at $600. We went back to our old model in determining a price of a more reasonable $397 because our courses are designed and they're presented by professionals who've taught on a collegiate level. We often set our course fees based on that model. But because we're intending to roll this out by April 22nd very quickly, because we think people need this information now, we wanted to offer you the ability to subscribe to this course prior to its release. If you do so on or before April 20th, we will give you access to all of this information, valuable information, for $97. Plus, we've made this offer even better. If you enroll in Pivot on or before April 20th, you'll get the course. It comes with interactive exercises to help you apply what you've learned. And we're going to throw in another course that we offer called Me, Myself, and I Unlimited. This course is 7 mini sessions on business fundamentals, which are a key thing to examine in today's times and really at any time. The value of that course is $165, and it also comes with its own set of interactive exercises again, for you to apply what you've learned. Plus, once you've finished your courses, your classes, you'll be invited to an individual question and answer session with your instructor. And this is not a group Q&A. This is an individual session. And that individual session would be normally priced at $185, but we're including all of these things in the pre-release subscription price of just $97. So if you register for Pivot before April 20th, your total cost is only $97. And that includes all the exercises, the bonus course, and the individual Q&A session. We've made it easy to register. It's really 3 simple steps. First, click on the link below. This will send you to a place where you will get access to the Ann Babiarz & Associates private client site. You'll be prompted to create a username and a password. And once you do so, you'll then register for the course. This all takes just a couple minutes, and you'll be ready when the course rolls out before the 22nd of this month. And it'll be delivered via video, text, and interactive exercises that are all accessed through the private client site using your username and password. Very simple. We hope to see many of you signing up for Pivot. We truly believe that it will be of help to you, and we thank you so much for watching today's presentation. If you do have any questions, as always, you can always feel free to reach out to us at ann@annbabiarz.com. Be well, and please stay safe.